coaching time.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, BBs. It's too early.
It sure is.
Welcome to the first, best, and only morning show in existence. I'm Anthony Carboni.
And I'm Saige Ryan.
Magic Quest.
Okay, Anthony, let's get into it.
Let's get into Magic Quest.
Yeah.
I just found out about the existence of Magic Quest.
I also was just informed by Anthony about the existence of Magic Quest. And apparently, it's an Anaheim attraction that's not just for kids.
No, God,
All of their
no.
photos are of kids enjoying it.
But it's not just for kids.
But they didn't say that's a rule.
Anyone can go.
Can I show your screen, Anthony?
Yeah.
There is one thing that just says best for teens and children.
It's
but
best for.
Right.
It's best for.
It's like the best buy date on like something, if you get from the grocery store.
You can eat
You
yogurt.
can eat it after the best buy date, just not after the best use buy.
You can eat yogurt for up to 7 months after the expiration.
Right. Well, no, hold on.
Up to 7.5 months.
I was really ready to go in and support you on this.
7.5 months. This is their player is within a player, and we know how we love that. But this is basically, you go to a hotel, you can buy a robe. You don't have to have a robe, but you can buy one.
Okay, pretty exciting.
And then you buy a wand. And then you run around this hotel. Parts of the hotel are made specifically for Magic Quest, and parts of it are just the hotel. So some rooms are really themed to look like dungeons where you're fighting dragons like that.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you're just like in the middle of a hallway on the floor, firing your wand at like a random light while people are trying to walk by.
Incredible.
I want to go to one so bad. There's one dedicated Magic Quest in Tennessee, and then the rest of them are in the Great Wolf Lodge. I'd never heard of the Great Wolf Lodge. If I had known about the Great Wolf Lodge when I was a kid, my parents probably could have saved so much money on vacations.
Yeah.
Because the Great Wolf Lodge apparently has a water park, an arcade, a bowling alley, laser tag, Magic Quest, and their own Build-A-Bear workshop.
Lanky Dragoon in the live studio audience said, I did this. Tell us everything. Was it incredible? Would you maybe say it's best for teens and children?
I will say that I've seen a YouTube video. The way I found out about it is YouTube showed me a video of adults doing this.
Oh.
And
so they'll let us in.
they're definitely
sure.
going to let you in. But it's not awesome, which is why it's awesome. Like,
right.
parts of it are very awesome, and then parts of it are like, we're in the hallway of a hotel, and people are trying to get by, and we keep pointing our magic wands at this treasure chest that's not opening.
Incredible.
And I love everything about it. I want Great Wolf Lodge's iconic, says Chafrikas.
Incredible. Also, Lanky Dragoon said that it was a great time. I was a teen at the time, probably best for teens and children. See, I would argue that I think that there's like a hump in the middle where it gets not fun again.
It's like children, teens, 20s, and then adults.
Disagree. I would say I think as a teen I would have been like,
Oh yeah, as a teen you'd like it, but you'd have that feeling of I'm too old for this.
Exactly.
I shouldn't be doing this.
Right.
I should be embarrassed.
Yeah.
And then 20s maybe it comes back up.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it comes. What's up, buddy?
I have one boop.
What's your problem?
I have one boop.
Is this the problem?
I
This
don't
part
know.
Here? Are you happy now?
I don't know.
Was that the boop?
I don't know.
Who could say?
What if we were still healing our inner teen? Yes.
Ambiguous also said I went as a teen.
You gotta go. I feel like we have to go to Magic Quest.
Skywalker went at 13. Wow. Why? How has everyone been there except for us?
What if
Where's it again?
I want to. It's in Anaheim.
It's in Anaheim.
Yeah, it's like 40 minutes away.
And I grew up like 20 minutes from there.
And you were never told. You were
Fucked
never
up. I'm gonna call
told.
my mom after this.
Every parent who didn't tell their child about Magic Quest is under arrest for child negligence.
Very true.
Sorry.
Anyways, let's get into the news. We have quite a bit of it today, but let's start out with some of the big news from this morning, which is the Nintendo Indie World.
Baby, if you think this show is too early, and you should, because we've carefully branded it that way, and if you don't, then it means we've not done our jobs.
We failed you.
But if you think we're too early, wait until you hear when Nintendo does its fucking direct still.
so early, typically like 6 a.m.
Why does Nintendo still do these at
They do
6 or 7 a.m.?
6 or 7.
Nintendo is like, no. The question you should be asking is, what time is it in Japan right now? Because we're watching. Even when America does their directs, we're watching, and we're waiting for them to fuck up.
That's it.
That's what they do. If Nintendo did it during a time when Nintendo of Japan was asleep,
they'd get away with so much.
They'd never allow it. They'd be like, no, we have to. Nintendo of Japan is the helicopter parent of the industry.
Now, Subway Mike just said something confusing. Said it's 11 a.m. EST. You should have your clock checked out because that.
You can't just estimate the time. You can't just say it's 11 a.m. estimated.
Yeah.
No, it's 8 a.m.
Now that the show is on.
Right. Now time is moving.
8, right. 8:13.
Estimated. Get a clock, dude. Nintendo had their Indie World right before we went live this morning, and this was a solid Indie World.
This was a solid Indie World. It was a relatively short one.
20 minutes.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of 40-minute Nintendo showcases in the last year or so. This one came in at 20. And let's go through everything that they announced in it, yeah?
Yeah. So first of all, Ooblets is coming home.
Ooblets will finally be on the Switch where it has always belonged.
This is where Ooblets should have been to begin with. But the Cordinglys, the couple that's developing the game, they needed that Epic money to finish the game. And
that makes perfect sense.
We understand that. They needed that 1 year of exclusive.
Yeah.
To get the money to finish the game, and now it can finally come home. It had its Rumspringa on the PC.
Yes.
And now it said, ooh, the PC world is too scary. I don't like it. The people are bad here. I'm going home to Nintendo where I can churn butter and not have direct chatting with other players.
Let me just do a little dance, make a little ooblet, and get down tonight. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I'm doing it right now.
I just want to grow a little farm of ooblet friends. Anthony, are you a home baby or a follow baby?
I think everyone right now is a follow baby because we've been home babies for so long. We've been forced to be home babies.
Yeah. But what would you say once it evens out?
Once it evens out, God, you know me. What would you say? I think I'm a half and half. I think I'm probably equally split.
I think you're just a sleepy follow baby.
I'm gonna go out, but I'm gonna be tired the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think generally the issue is that you don't want to hang out with people or don't want social engagement or attention from humans. You're just tired.
I'm just not gonna do it if it's too late. If it starts early enough, I'll go until 3 a.m. The trick is it has to start early enough. Yeah. If it starts at 11, it's like.
Yeah, we tried to get Anthony out to the Rocky Horror Picture Show the other night, which is you arrive at 11 p.m. and I knew that wasn't happening.
I'd done that. It's fun. I would love to do it again. Here's what they should do. Have a little Rocky Horror matinee.
It wouldn't be the same.
No, it'd be lovely.
No.
A little matinee.
No, you got to go.
Bring the kids.
The hours when you can get weird, I am a follow baby.
You are definitely a follow baby. Ooblets, very excited that's going to be on the Switch. We've got a lot more to say about the Switch after this, but it's good for this game to be on the Switch for a lot of reasons.
Next up was Batora Lost Heaven. Batora, yeah. Batora.
I thought this looked pretty good. It wasn't one of the ones that was most exciting to me.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's cute.
I gotta listen, folks. We gotta get rid of the Fortnite art style. We gotta I'm not saying to Batora specifically. I'm saying as an industry, we have got to. It's okay to do something that's a little low poly, something that's a little cartoony.
Yeah.
But we gotta get rid of this Fortnite art style and everything.
I do agree. I think that the wave of Fortnite art style, and I also understand it from a marketing perspective of trying to get kids to play your game that aren't necessarily like super avid gamer kids, but they play Fortnite. I also understand doing something that looks familiar to them. It's not for me.
Yeah. I like an action RPG. I definitely do. The trick with this one is going to be the same trick that every sort of action RPG or similar game has in fall 2022, which is when's Breath of the Wild 2 coming out?
Yeah.
Because if Breath of the Wild 2 comes out at the same time this comes out, ain't nobody playing this. And I'm not saying that, to be rude. I'm just, those are the numbers of it,
Yeah. I'll also say, what was that game where you're the couple that's navigating the world? It was something else Haven, wasn't it?
Or I think it was just called Haven or something. It had...
Was that Haven? Yeah, there's Haven and then there's Sun Haven, and I always get those two titles confused.
Yeah, the little handholdy one. That was
the little handholdy one. I feel like this is...
Now, this is coming to everything.
They were probably pretty upset.
So it's not Switch only. So it's not going to have to worry too much about that. But I also wonder if everybody's experiencing the same fatigue I am with that particular aesthetic.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like, it's not that it negatively affects me, but when something has that aesthetic, it sort of just washes right over me. Like, I don't register it. Yeah. Does that make sense? I just look at it and I go, Electhead looks so good.
I was pulling up an article that actually has all of the trailers and YouTube ones, not.
Electhead is amazing. Now, this is low pixel indie platformer, whatever.
Yeah.
But I do, and this is another aesthetic that people are tired of. But I will say, for puzzle platformer, you are a little electrified robot, buddy, and everything you touch gets electrified. So you are able to move platforms, change things just by electrifying them. You can also throw your head. Your head touches something, and it will electrify that thing.
For a few seconds.
For a few seconds. You have 10 seconds to get your head back before it explodes.
I think that's very clever.
There's going to be so many good puzzles. This is going to be such a good little
puzzle. There's the head throw. Jumping over to get it.
I think this is going to be great. This is a solo developer, started doing this in school, and got picked up by Nintendo. I love that. I think this is going to be really good. It's going to have, it's going to have an uphill climb because I was watching the chat and people were like, 2D pixel indie platformer.
Yeah, I understand that. I do think that they did something special with this one, which I do appreciate, but I think that it could probably get lost in the shuffle just aesthetically.
Yeah, I think so too, but keep your eye out for it because it looks really good. Next is one of my highlights.
Which I don't think is getting lost in anyone's fall. This is Soundfall. Soundfall is a rhythm-based game, which has 4-player co-op, which was the part that really, really got me.
It's a mix of a looter shooter and sort of Cryptid the Necrodancer.
Yeah.
So it's 4-player co-op looter shooter. You pick from like 100 different songs. It will dynamically generate a level based on that song, which means song packs, which means like I'm thinking, think fourth dimensionally here. They've got a lot going on. But also, it's unlike Necrodancer in that you don't have to be exactly on beat, but you get bonuses when you are.
Right. It powers up your abilities and weapons, which I find really cool. I haven't played a ton of rhythm-based games, but I usually associate a rhythm-based game with having music attached to levels.
Yes.
The idea that you get to choose the music that you jam to is really, really cool to me. To me, it's the perfect culmination of Dance Dance Revolution and just like a regular old video game.
We went through there was a period where games were doing generative things with music and stuff when everything was CD based and games were CD based.
Yeah.
So like PlayStation had a lot of stuff like Monster Rancher and Vib Ribbon and stuff like that would like generate levels for you based on music. And of course we've seen things like Audio Shield and stuff like that, but this reminds me of an alternate future where that stuff took off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could absolutely see that.
I love anything rhythm-based, and I love a top-down shooter. Ooh,
yeah.
This is exactly for me.
Top-down shooters are not my favorite, but this looks very, very fun. And also, the thing that always sells me in on a shooter is co-op.
Co-op. Oh, and especially a top-down arcadey co-op.
Yeah.
Then we got Wild Frost. This is the latest in your roguelike deck builder, which who knew that was going to turn into such a genre?
And damn, is it such a genre?
Like Slay the Spire took off and everybody was like, okay.
All right, I could do that.
We're all doing this.
I mean, it's an accessible entry point for indie games, which I do appreciate. This is going to be a deck builder is going to often be a less expensive game to make.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and also like, a lot of indie developers and a lot of game developers, when they prototype things, their first prototype is usually like a paper prototype.
Yeah.
And this is so one-to-one with that. And also like, I just like the design of these cards. You could release this as a physical game. I would buy these cards.
Yeah.
So
how do you feel about playing the video game though?
Cards as video game. I always, whenever I do it, I'm always like, I wish I had cards in my hand. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, even like all the way back in the day when Hearthstone started taking off, and everybody was like, oh, it's like you can play all these, it's like all the card games, but you just play it digitally. And I was like, want card.
Yeah.
Want card, put on table.
Yeah, I get that.
Bring out cards with friends.
Yeah.
Organize my card physically.
Fun to touch a card.
Fun to touch a card and organize things.
Also, what have y'all got a hype train going?
Wow. Hey, thank you, BBs. You know, we always say this. We're going to call out everybody who donated and who gives bits and who subs at the end of the show. We always do that. Nothing can stop the flow of news.
Nothing can stop the flow of news.
It, except for me explaining that all your donations directly go to the hosts, and your subscriptions and your Patreon memberships go to the network as a whole to improve all shows. So thank you.
Pretty cool of you.
Pretty cool of you. Dang!
Goodness. The next thing that we got in this indie direct was Totally Accurate Battle Simulator.
This belongs on the Switch.
I agree. I absolutely think this belongs on the Switch. You're probably already familiar with this game, but it's a jiggle physics battle simulator game where you
the
can
physics
control.
don't jiggle.
They fold. Yeah.
You like to see them wiggle?
For sure.
I think this looks really, I think this just belongs on the Switch so much. This is such a sit around, do dumb things.
Yeah.
This is also just a great, like, not turn your brain off, but just goof around game, which is great for exactly where you would want the Switch in portable mode.
Yeah. I'm not trying to make some kind of specific progress. I'm just dicking about.
Yeah, I love it. Welcome to the Switch, Totally Accurate Battle Simulator.
Yeah. Honestly, for some reason, jiggle physics games never get old for me.
Never get old for me.
I could play every one of them forever.
Your human fall flats. Your gang beasts.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of them.
It just never ceases to make me very happy.
I love them. I love them so much. Our next game is the latest Devolver game to put a gun portmanteau in the title. It's a thing at Devolver, and this is the latest one. It's called Gunbrella. It's by the people who made Gato Roboto.
So funny.
Now, Gato Roboto, if you don't remember, was a Game Boy-styled Metroidvania where you're a cat in a mech suit.
Yes.
It's very good. I think it's like $5 on the Switch or something.
Mm-hmm.
By Gato Roboto. Gunbrella is a noir punk game where you have a gun and a gunbrella. You have a gunbrella. You're the penguin.
It's very literal. You have a gunbrella. It is all a penguin.
But I love that it's like, so you use the it's very inspired by like the Shovel Knights of the world, you can tell, where it's like you can use the umbrella for everything you think you could. You can block things with it. You can float with it. You can use it as a zip line. But then also
a gun.
Also a gun. I love it. I love it. What I do love about Devolver is most of their stuff that has gun in the title is a stupid joke about gun.
Yeah, it's a goof.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a goof.
I like that they've taken that hard line about it where it's like, gun is goofs.
What I'll also say is 2D pixel art, this does not fall in that forgettable category aesthetically for me. There's a very specific 2D pixel art look that a lot of indie games have, and the Devolver games typically do not.
That specific look is called placeholder art or programmer art, and this is a genuine pixel artist making stuff, so I love this.
Yeah.
Now, we're not, once again, not dunking on a Leckhead. It was made by one kid while he was in school.
Yes,
so.
absolutely, and we're excited to play a Leckhead, absolutely, but this is the thing that people have been kind of like burnt out on.
Can I say, I would have loved to have seen if Nintendo was like, no, we like this and we want to bring this to the Switch.
Yeah.
I would have loved if they had thrown in a little money.
Throw a little art budget down.
Throw a little art money in there and be like, we're going to give this kind of more of a Switch look. Because I think if they had done that.
Oh my God, that game would be
a
through the roof.
Low poly cartoony Switch look. Oh
yeah, that would be great.
Broforce vibes. Oh my gosh, I haven't thought about Broforce in forever.
Oh yeah,
Broforce. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Wow.
The next game is a game we always love to talk about. We are OFK.
Coming to Switch. So good that this is coming to Switch.
Absolutely. We Are OFK is a biographical game about being in a band.
Now the band is a real band.
Yeah.
With basically virtual idols are all members of the band and they're characters in the game. And it's sort of like dropping at the same time as their first album.
Yeah. And they said they're going to be doing weekly episodes that come along with music videos and stuff along with the game.
Yeah, it's Now, when they announced this on PlayStation, some people got it. A lot of people did not. But when I say a lot of people did not, I mean the people who watch live games events. People
for
who
the PlayStation specifically. The Nintendo audience, on the other hand, I think are the people for this.
They definitely, watching the live chat scroll by, more people understood it. The trailer, I don't think, I think the initial like opening that they did with the, they had a thing where Luca, who's the lead singer, Luca and one of the developers were talking and doing like a little bit, and that was just not landing. But then the second the trailer started, everybody was like, oh, I get what this is. Even though they have not shown off much gameplay yet.
They have not. I mean, I know it's going to be, like, at the end of the day, this is going to be about the story of this band, so I understand highlighting that first. I love the art style of it a lot.
The art team is brilliant. The music team is brilliant. You know, a lot of the real musicians who are part of the virtual band OFK, you got people like Omniboy. Like, Omniboy is in OFK playing a character, and I love that. And the art team is absolutely phenomenal. We know that there's like obviously visual novel aspects of this. We've seen that there are like texting aspects. There's stuff where you have to text memes to your friends, and I'm just like, this is very good. But we don't know. I want to know if there is a performance rhythm-based aspect to it yet, and they have not shown that. But that would be exciting.
That would be very exciting. The next up trailer we got is Silt.
Silt, man, I love a game in an ocean.
I hate a game in an ocean.
I know you do, but this seems like a game in the ocean for you because it's about the terror of the ocean. Now, does that, because you have the thessallophobia, like Finn from Adventure Time, does this make you feel better or worse?
Oh no, worse.
Okay.
No, the terror of the ocean, I agree, is terrifying. So I feel validated in people agreeing that it's terrifying. I'm not saying I wouldn't play it, though. I did watch this and want to play it.
I love this.
But that is because I am somebody who likes being scared. I find this particularly spooky.
I love ocean. I love horror. I normally don't like when a game goes for the 2D black and white creepy... We're Edward Gorey and we're doing Edward Gorey things.
I do like that.
But this artist or this art team has a real hold on the style that I enjoy.
I think this is stunning. I also will say it's generally hard to scare me in 2D, but this is just, it gave the like right amount of discomfort to it. And the art style down to the little fins that you wear, having those like long points on it, are so aesthetically pleasing to me.
I love that the coral,
stringy, pointy,
the coral and the plants and all the other things in the sea are very much like they look alive.
They're serving Burton.
Yeah, they're definitely serving some Burton, which is of course low rent Edward Gorey. So I like this because, you know, you can probably tell you are this diver, but you're this ghost diver, but you have the ability to possess ocean creatures to interact with different things and solve puzzles for you, and I just love it.
It was as soon as the little guy left the open mouth and it was just open there that I was just like, ugh.
That's the ocean. It's everywhere. Ugh. It goes on forever.
I like it. I dislike the ocean. It makes me the right kind of uncomfortable it's supposed to, and I think it did a good job.
So it does kind of make you more likely to play it as an ocean game because it spooks you.
The lack of realism in it helps a lot.
Gotcha.
Like, I'm not going to play Subnautica.
Did you play Abzu? Abzu's lovely. And it's calming ocean. You meditate.
I do not find the ocean calming.
That's fair.
What I do find calming
is traffic.
City planning. You ever sat in Los Angeles traffic and thought, wow, I wish I could just rebuild these roads. These are so bad. I don't understand why we did it that way. Why have I been here for an hour trying to get onto the 134? There's not a clog up ahead. People are just sitting here for some reason.
Have you ever seen the SNL sketch, The Californians? Saige was born into that. Saige was born into the traffic.
You merely adapted the traffic. Okay? I was born in it, molded by it.
Saige definitely grew up in this, and this makes sense to her. But Mini Motorways is like, you have to build roads.
Little city planning.
And you build the roads and the city pops up around the road.
Yeah.
Which is wild, and also, unfortunately, the way city planning goes now.
Yeah.
But I think it's fascinating. And they have, like, different levels based on different cities and how those cities grow. And I can't wait for the LA level to be ultra hard and also the worst.
I always loved building out the roads in any kind of like city building sim. So I was just like, just the roads. Wee, yes.
Captain Crunch, oops, all roads.
Yay. Thank you for just the roads. What a gift.
And of course, that's been out on other platforms, but it's coming to the Switch. And I think it makes a lot of sense there.
Next up is Wayward Strand. Wayward Strand looks like a fun, emotional, like slowed down game taking place in the 1970s where you are a journalist looking to uncover lost stories of your family.
But you're a teen journalist.
Yeah, you're a teen journalist going and talking to old folks.
But it's kind of like, this is a Saige game for Sages for sure.
It is a Saige game for Sages.
I can definitely see you streaming this one.
I will.
But it's also got that like sketchwork, low poly look, sort of similar to Calico.
Yeah, I would say it actually does have a pretty similar aesthetic of like a less cutesy Calico,
which I
like
know
a less cartoony Calico.
Yeah, which I know kind of resonates with you. You kind of like that style.
I love it so much. I love the color palette of it. I love the soft pastels. So who you talk to and the decisions you make in your interactions with them impact the information that you find out and the way that your story goes.
And all the stories, they're apparently like multiple stories happening. Like every character has their own story and they all go in real time. So you cannot solve everybody's story in one playthrough, which I also enjoy.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, and also as my gaming time becomes more and more limited, it also stresses me a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, it does both.
Well, I think that the Switch becomes the right platform for that then. You know, that thing that you can just kind of like power your screen off and revisit in a little bit when you have the time again. Take it in those little chunks.
We got a little more Cult of the Lamb.
Which we've talked about Cult of the Lamb on here. It's another Devolver game.
Yeah. This is a game where you create an adorable little cult. It's kind of an Animal Crossing but cult.
Animal Crossing but cult.
Yeah. Sort of.
I like that sell.
It has an art style that is more along the lines of once we get out of the animated trailer here, but Devolver's crushing it with the animated trailers.
They really are.
Once we get out of it, you'll see it's got kind of you mentioned Don't Starve. It's got that like cut paper, like everything's 2D on a 3D plane.
Very much a Don't Starve.
But it's got this like, it's got to have a dodge roll. You can't make a game without a dodge roll. Absolutely not.
I think it looks excellent.
Look at you making them sing, and you're kind of like, but they're happy in your cult.
I'm loving this like Midsommar.
I like
we've got going here.
Dark but adorable is definitely what we're going for here in our lives.
Yeah.
Here on the Pixel Circus Network.
Always
and also just in our games. This is wonderful.
Yeah. Dark and adorable is 1000% my goal at all times.
Now, this next one is by the team that made Going Under, which was great. Going Under was that game where you work as an intern at a game developer. And it was very good. I think it's on Game Pass. I think it's on PlayStation Plus. Like, if you haven't played Going Under, it's very good. But it's very funny because the team starts off after this trailer. They were like, "Hi, we're the team that made Going Under, and that didn't make us any money. So we made this game that we think is going to make us money."
Yeah, they're like, so we're selling out. We know what people love, and it's crabs, and that's exactly what they made. Wait, it said, hold on. It is from, second game for the aggro crab people. It is the aggro crab people.
It is the aggro crab people, yes.
Because I have played aggro crab, and I looked at the like battle portion of this, and I was like, I have played this game.
And I was like,
there's a little RPG element to it now as well.
No, it was it's similar, and I was like, why is it similar? And it's like, oh, because it's from aggro crab.
That makes tons of sense.
But this looks great. This is so aggro crab was incredibly hilarious. And obviously was like, did have some sticky battle gameplay. Like, I really enjoyed it.
It was very fun.
But it was It was kind of for the lulls.
Yes, absolutely.
It was definitely for the memes.
A party game.
Yeah, a party game. A hit the crab for massive damage is clearly where they got the idea.
Right.
But this is like, okay, but what if we did something real with it?
To me, it's also serving like a little bit of Pikmin.
Mm-hmm.
When you're running around in the world, the way the world looks to you at your size is just hitting a little like Pikmin nostalgia for me, which I really enjoy.
This is another Kowloon Knights. Kowloon Knights is, of course, publishing We Are OFK, and they're publishing. Keep an eye on Kowloon Knights. They've been in the last couple of years. They've become a very interesting sort of. If you're making something indie that's a little too cute for Devolver, but is just as good.
Yeah.
Kowloon Knights is kind of where you go.
Yeah,
you
I can
know?
see that.
So keep an eye on them.
That was the last full trailer in the Indie Direct. We had like a little, essentially like quick slideshow that showed moments from other games, including One Shot, World Machine Edition, Gibbon, Beyond the Trees, Idle Manager, Card Shark, Cursed to Golf, A Guidebook of Babel, and Opus Echo of Star Song.
Cursed to Golf is my shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cursed to Golf is my shit. You know I love a golf video game. I don't enjoy golf. I think golf is stupid. A golf video game with a little bit of a story
and a great color palette.
This is a golfing adventure game set in the underworld, and you know, this, a lot of people were like, sorry, the framiness is ours. I love everything that's like the Mario Golf RPG.
Yeah.
I love anything that's like that. This looks like a very, very good game.
Yeah, that looks very, very fun. And I will say, again, on like 2D pixel art, I never get tired of the purple and green color palette. And we've seen a lot of those games. That like dark purple, like kind of spooky look to it with like the bright fucking greens in it.
Yeah, and also
just makes me happy. It makes my eyes happy.
That's good color theory. It's basic color theory, but it's also good color theory. And that goes to show you, most people who are making these pixel art games, they don't understand color theory. It's not their fault. Yeah. They're usually 1 or 2 person teams, but you can really tell when they have the money to work closely with an artist or when they make the time to work with an artist.
Right, or they come from an art background. Let's move on to some more gaming news. How do you feel? We'll give a quick like final feelings on the Indie Direct.
Final feelings on the Indie Direct. This was an extremely strong one.
Yeah.
Nintendo is kind of crushing it with the indies lately. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about Nintendo's earnings call, which they just had. But there's a reason Nintendo and the Switch are doing as well as they are, and it's not just first party this time. You know, with a Nintendo console, it's usually like, well, they're floating because of their first party games.
Do you want to get to that now?
We can talk to that now. Yeah.
Now that we're here, now that it's been brought up, let's talk about it.
Yeah, Nintendo had their earnings call. Something that I think is interesting, the Switch has reached 107.65 million Switch consoles shipped since its launch in 2017. It is now the most successful home console Nintendo has ever released, overtaking the Wii.
Wow.
That is huge.
Yeah, it is.
A huger thing about that is the attach rate. They've sold 836 million units of software, which means the Switch console has an 8-game attach rate. That's huge.
That is huge.
Everybody who buys a Switch is buying 8
their
games.
Switch and buying the games, or at least buying the games.
Yeah. Buying 8 games, that's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, most people, like, especially when they're, you know, when you think about a family console, something like that, those attach rates are much lower. You're talking around, like, for some people, for like the Wii U had an attach rate of like 2. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously that did not do super well, but you know, the GameCube I think had an attachment of like 4 or 5. An 8-game attachment rate is like crazy good. Now it does have a little bit to go to catch up to the Game Boy. Now the Game Boy sold 118.6 million units, so about 10 million more units. Or 154 million units for the Nintendo DS. But here's the thing. Nintendo cheats when they talk about the DS and the Game Boy because they lump all the Game Boy models together.
Yeah.
And all the DS models together.
Right. And there were so many of each.
Yeah. Pokemon Legends Arceus in the last quarter sold 12.64 million units. The Pokemon remake, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, 13.97 million units. It's huge. Arceus is essentially doing just as well as any other Pokemon. Now, the Switch sales are still going strong, but they are slowing.
Yeah.
Nintendo did say on this call, thinking about the next generation is a big deal for us right now. And we've talked about this timing. We've said that we would not be surprised if there was a new Switch next year.
Yeah, which is very interesting to me because I'm actually not at a point where I particularly want one.
That's the trouble that Nintendo's running into.
I feel very satisfied by my Switch. And I'm going to be honest, if I was a single console household, it would be a Switch for me.
Yeah, for sure. I think the same thing. I don't, obviously a lot of people are like, hey, the Switch is long in the tooth. It was long in the tooth when it came out. The hardware is not great. We're getting to the point where even some of these indies are going to be like, we don't know if our game is going to run as well as we want on the Switch.
Yeah.
But if you're a Switch owner, no matter when you bought it, you're kind of like, I'm good with this.
Right.
I don't want.
It does everything I want my Switch to do.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I don't need any more from this. Nintendo just needs to keep releasing games.
Yeah.
So I think that's this is where, unfortunately, like, these earning calls and, like, shareholder perception comes in, because shareholders are like, well, why aren't you keeping up in hardware? And that makes Nintendo feel pressure to release new hardware when, like, dude, you're just printing money right now. The Switch just got a price cut, which means you are now making more money on the Switch than you ever have. You've recouped your manufacturing costs because now you're able to cut the retail price. It's all gravy from here on out. If I was Nintendo, I would want to coast for another 2 years on this thing.
Yeah, I mean, and we don't know. They did say that looking at the future is important to them, but that isn't an announcement for anything. We got the OLED not that long ago. I think this is probably a very biased perspective because, like, I am a Nintendo kid till I die. There is pretty much, I'll buy every Nintendo console. At a certain point, no matter how quickly they release them, if there's a new console from Nintendo, I'm buying it. I can wait on a PlayStation. I can wait on an Xbox. I like to have them.
Yeah.
But, like, if they release a new Nintendo console next year, there's no question for me.
Well, Nintendo has, I mean, people have tried to replicate it, but Nintendo really has the corner on Nintendo-like experiences.
And the Nintendo experience is one that is particularly catered for me.
Yeah, so
if you don't have a Switch for any reason at this point, if that reason might have been financial, the Switch actually just got a price drop.
So, the Switch OLED, people were talking about the Switch Pro and how the Switch Pro was coming, and it was the Switch OLED, and I think the reason for that is with supply chains the way they are, I think it was easy for Nintendo to split costs between their traditional panel and an OLED, because right now it's probably like, well, we can only manufacture so many of your LCDs for you.
Yeah.
So Nintendo is very smart and very frugal about hardware releases. And I don't think the Switch OLED, it's funny, the people that I know that have Switch OLEDs already had a Switch.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of people that were like, well, I didn't get a Switch and my first Switch is going to be the OLED.
Which, like, if I didn't have a Switch, it would make sense.
Right. It would make sense, but, like,
yeah,
I didn't see it. It wasn't driving new consumers as much. Well, and this is all my perception.
And our perception is a little bit skewed because our friends all have Switches.
Right.
We exist within a gaming community and a nerd community and entertainment community. Like, we're all the kind of people that are going to have the Switch. So it's a little bit of a difficult test group.
Yeah. It's we are definitely skewed.
I don't know anyone who's going to get a Switch ever that doesn't already have one. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's the thing is, like, even the people I know that don't have Switches now are because, like, well, I'm a PC person, or, well, I like this console. Or I don't play games.
Yeah, or I don't play games. But even some people, during the Panini, the height of the Panini, when Animal Crossing came out, I did know a lot of people who were buying Switches, even if they weren't
Animal
gamers.
Crossing. Yes, absolutely.
But that was before the OLED came out.
Right.
And it's not like those people are upgrading.
Exactly. Those people are definitely not upgrading. I think that's very interesting. We do have a couple of people in chat. Kodoroku and Kurt both said that their first Switch was the OLED.
Oh, that's great. Good.
So we do have like that kind of skewed perspective on it. But this price drop is kind of, I think, where people get in, like, for instance, parents that are like, I've wanted to play this. I have some games that I've wanted to play for me. If I was going to get it for my kids that have already gotten it already for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But now I can afford to maybe have one for me, or like
you're getting
generally those very casual gamers.
Yeah, you're getting into what I call no thought gadget territory. No thought gadget territory for a lot of adults. And it's when I mean no thought, I mean it's like you've wanted this thing.
Yeah.
Or a thing comes out and it looks neat and there's a price where you're like, well, that is totally a no-brainer. And I think $259 is still high. I think that no thought gadget price for most adults is closer to the $150 to $200 level.
Yeah, which they have the little Switch for. Switch Little.
They have Switch Little.
That's what it's called, the Switch Little.
But the Switch Little is not much cheaper than the regular Switch now, is it?
I thought the Switch Lite was $200.
Is it
$199?
Because
the regular Switch is $299.
See, but I think here's the problem with the Switch Little. The Switch Little, I think for most people, is like, doesn't go on TV. Yeah,
it doesn't go on TV. That's
a huge
whole
one.
Thing.
So that's $199, but you don't get the TV. For me, that's a non-starter.
Right.
But I think if you're gonna get a Switch now, the regular Switch, I used to tell people get the OLED, pay the extra, 20, 30, or the extra $40. But now, like, no, get the original, get the OG for $260.
Yeah,
that's a good deal. That's a good deal. And I think you've got another 2 years of games coming out, and the back catalog is crazy on the Switch. The first party release schedule for the year has, of course, Splatoon 3, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Breath of the Wild has, of course, been pushed to spring 2023. Nintendo wants to get that out before March 31st because otherwise it slips to the next fiscal year. And that's going to make those shareholders on this call, the ones who are saying put out new hardware, that's going to make them mad.
That is going to make them mad.
They are forecasting revenue and operating profit to decline by 5.6% and 15.6% respectively. That's not bad for the pandemic. We're going to talk about PlayStation's numbers in a moment.
Chat, you get to choose. For people who are catching the show live this morning, games or business next? Because we're kind of splitting the difference right now. We're talking about games and business.
It's games business, baby.
So we could go in either direction from here. Do we continue in the direction of business, or do we get back into the games, the heart of the show of games?
We've got, people are
saying, it's divided. Oh, God, it's so divided.
It's so divided. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do this
business.
We'll do this one related business, and then we'll jump into a very good chunk of games. Sony also had their earnings call.
Okay.
Sony also had their earnings call. They basically said, our sales have not been what we wanted.
Not surprising. People couldn't get your console.
They missed their initial sales target by 3.3 million units. That's a lot of units. And it's just because, like, they can't make them. We know that they can't make them.
Yep.
It's not happening.
That's not surprising at all.
They did also say that they're going to put another $300 million into first-party PlayStation studios. They said, look, we've increased our PlayStation Plus offerings and our PSN offerings, but we're never going to do this day one Game Pass.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. We believe in investing in first party, and we believe that over time, if we do this day one Game Pass stuff, it's only going to hurt first party releases in the long run. They're only going to get worse. We're going to try to churn them out faster. They're going to get cheaper, which of course is counter to what Microsoft is saying, which is, no, man, it's an all-you-can-eat buffet all the time, and nothing's going to happen.
Two very interesting approaches that I am very curious to see what happens in a few years.
I tend to think that Sony is right in the long run on this one.
Right. We are benefiting right now from Microsoft's choices, but game developers will not.
So, they talked about the Bungie acquisition. They talked about Bluepoint and Housemarque. The Bungie acquisition is under fire. They sort of they sort of limited discussion about that, obviously, on their earnings call. But
Yeah.
that's a question that's in a lot of people's minds.
Anthony, every time I read Housemark, I just want you to know, in my brain, it's pronounced like Bismarcky.
Housemarque.
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 Specifically because it's like the same syllables as Bismarcky.
Housemarque. That's fine. That's how we'll say it from now on.
Anyways, I just thought I should let you know.
I'll call them and I'll let them know. And they will have to say it this way from now on. Okay, let's go to games.
Yeah?
Let's go to games. People have been saying some games. Let's go to games.
We had a lot of love for business too. I don't know.
We'll go back to business. But
all right.
We're still talking games-related stuff.
Let's talk about that Gotham Knights gameplay we got.
We got about 15 minutes of co-op Nightwing and Red Hood gameplay.
Very interesting. And the response to this so far has not been super positive.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of very valid criticism so far for the Gotham Knights gameplay because this is the first real look we've seen into it. Skip ahead to a little bit of actual gameplay.
Yeah, they're showing some stuff. I'm trying to get the stupid YouTube top bar.
Yeah.
Stupid YouTube top bar.
It also might be lagging more on yours than mine.
It's definitely lagging a bit more.
I'll go to my screen.
Yeah, go to your screen.
Bing.
Bing, bing, bang.
No, hold on.
So
went back. I want the theater mode. That's what I want.
There we go. It's just like we're in the theater.
Yeah, it's
watching Gotham Knights.
Just like that.
Great looking. People are talking about the response to that is that to this gameplay has been that people are a little underwhelmed.
Yeah, finding it a little bit generic, finding Red Hood to be just kind of a basic gunman.
Yeah, people are saying that they wanted more like melee out of Red Hood.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's interesting here is as we're moving into a game that's designed around co-op, drop in, drop out co-op. It's less like other games in the Arkham series, and that's why they didn't say Arkham anything. This is why it's Gotham Knights. Each of these characters has to be more like a specific character class. So Red Hood is built around ranged because Nightwing is based around melee.
Right, and you want to be able to form a team. And I do understand that, but I will agree that I think what they've done with the character models right now, the fight sequences look very generic.
Yeah.
I think the animations are so generic on the actual combat.
I mean...
And I say this knowing that this is one of my most anticipated games right now and has been since the initial announcement of it. So it hurts me to criticize because this is one of the games I am looking forward to the very most of all games.
Jason has this walk cycle that's like very 2006 I'm tortured video game walk cycle where his arms are like Wolfman arms. Like even his why is he standing that way? Don't stand. Nobody stands that way, Jason.
Yeah, that walk
is
dated.
Oh my God, is that Dick? That should not be Dick. Oh God. Oh God.
That was dated. Yeah.
Oh God.
I'll skip ahead a little bit.
That's not. No, Dick, don't walk like that. That's the Dick Grayson walk cycle. Oh God.
Yeah.
That's bad. That's bad.
It doesn't quite capture the spirit of the characters.
No, I mean, and what's funny is like
Fastbat's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's cool. And I was waiting to see Nightwing. Nightwing, voiced by my buddy, friend of the show, Christopher Sean, who is also Kazuto Ziono on Star Wars Resistance.
A+ Zelda glider.
Gotta have a Zelda glider. It's weird because, this is a game that's been kind of, I wouldn't say it's been mired in development stuff, but it has been delayed multiple times. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. This city is not blowing me away the way Gotham City has blown me away in past Arkham games.
It's serving me too much Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, it's got something
about the way that they're traveling around the city and those like marker points is just serving me Rockstar.
It's a generation straddling game, and you can tell that it was supposed to come out a year ago.
Yeah.
When straddling the generations wasn't going to be as I mean, these animations still would have been weird, but the actual like graphic fidelity wouldn't have been as strange. So here we get some classic Arkham stuff. I'm on a balcony. I'm gonna drop down.
Yeah. Which is a cool stealth move. That's fun.
Yeah.
We love the Arkham games.
The hallmark of the Arkham games. Here's your detective mode. You know, I was sort of hoping with this focus on action that there would be a minimizing of detective mode actually.
Interesting.
I think the detective mode puzzles are fine in Arkham, but also not my favorite part.
They gave Nightwing some cool flippies.
So
his character animations are much better.
Yeah, his combat animations are much better.
Yeah.
He's got the combat stuff looks better on him. The walking makes a little more sense when he's holding his tonfas or his eskrima. Right.
They did now say next-gen exclusive. That's correct. Originally, it was not supposed to be, but they have canceled the Xbox One and PS4 releases for this because it's just been too long.
Yeah.
And most games are not coming out on both generations anymore. We are at the point of past that.
But that's what's wild is you're canceling the Xbox One and PS4 edition.
And it still looks like an Xbox One PS4 game.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a problem. I would have, if I was, I don't know, maybe there was just some trouble in the development of it. But you know, you would have thought that they would keep that at least to make the most amount of money.
Look at the Court of Owls.
The Court of Owls is so good. So now
I'm so excited.
They're going to show the same fight with the Red Hood.
Now, here's what I will say.
Red Hood is very injustice with the way he like does stuff. It's very
Isn't
very like over the top, like throwing him in the air and kicking them in the solar plexus. Like yeah, he's definitely more. He's definitely more of a meathead.
Yeah. It's very interesting. And like, look, I think also Arkham games have always gotten a lot of criticism for their combat. I'm a big fan of the Arkham games.
Which is wild because Arkham games basically created modern melee combat.
I know, but they get a lot of criticism for it.
They did sort of fall into the last couple of games into that, well, this guy's a big guy, so block, flip, hit him in the back.
It is very repetitive a lot of the time in Arkham games, and it does have such a like formula to it. I agree. I think that this does not look bad. There's nothing bad about this.
No, but there's nothing groundbreakingly new like we wanted to see. And also, you know, we got to talk about the fact that like they're not showing off the co-op.
No, they're not.
Which is, to me, if you're going to do this game where it's like, we're not innovating on this combat. We're not innovating on the technical side.
Right.
Where's the innovation? The innovation is supposed to be in this four-player co-op. It's great that that everybody in the Bat family has different styles. It's great that, you know, you can show it different ways, but functionally, these characters are doing the same thing.
Yes.
There are a couple moves that are different, but functionally, they're doing the same thing. I'm pushing the same buttons. I'm doing the same combos.
The way that he exploded was very interesting.
Yeah. But show me the two characters working together. You don't have to show me four-player yet.
I would love to see two characters working together. I would love to see them like having some kind of abilities that bounce off of each other in cool ways.
Now they're going to, I think, do they show a little bit at the end?
We are pretty close to the end. Now we just got a cutscene for the end.
So weird. Why would you show off this game that's about co-op Bat family and not show off just a little bit? This is not a live demo. This is not a visit to a press office. This is your own cut, edited, released video. This is your cherry picking the gameplay.
Right. You could do anything you want with it, and this is what they've done. This has not lost out on my excitement for this game.
Absolutely
I'm still
not.
very, very excited for this game. I still think that it can be very, very good. I know, for instance, like Red Hood will not be the character I play, right?
Yeah, Red Hood's not for me.
That's not my gameplay style, and there is somebody for that.
Now,
I'm excited to see Barbara.
The release date for this is October 25th.
Yes.
Just in time for the long Halloween. And we are now in May. There's time for polish on animation. Especially animation and graphical polish. The nice thing about animation polish and things like that is they're a lot more detached from core gameplay development than some other things. So it's not as hard to update these things going forward.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that's a priority for them. I think the look of the city and stuff like that is not going to change that much. I think that's pretty locked and static. It's certainly not going to get tons better.
Yes.
Your open world engine is not going to change. But I think there's time to really clean up and dial in those animations and think about the personalities of these characters and how to make this work better. You could listen, you don't have to mocap the whole thing, but you can mocap a walk cycle.
Yeah.
Jesus.
For sure.
Mocap that walk cycle. Why did I think Dick is walking like Jason and I didn't even like that walk for Jason? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Either way, I think that there's still plenty of time to polish this up. I don't think that it's foundationally bad overall. I really enjoyed what they showed us from Nightwing. I think that Nightwing is there for me.
Mm-hmm. In combat.
Yeah.
Walking around Dick is not there.
I get it, but that's just walking. I would much rather his combat be good.
Sure.
Walking is not the part of the game for me, like the main part of the game.
He looks good hanging off a glider.
He looks good hanging off a glider. He looked good on some of those Gatling gun swings.
The famous Dick Grayson butt is intact.
Yeah. So I'm excited for it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think if anything, my concern is that they just shouldn't have released this video. They should have waited a couple weeks.
I hope this doesn't dissipate a lot of the excitement that the community has for it.
Mm-hmm, because clearly, listen, earnings calls were this week, as we know.
Yes.
So WB Games and all these games companies just changed hands. Mm-hmm. There are new owners. They were told you have to release something before the earnings call.
Yeah.
And they had to justify their existence. And it's a bummer that that's the video that they had to release.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see that go up.
I think we should bounce back and forth because we have one more games piece.
Okay.
But I think we should revisit it. Let's
Games revisited.
Yes.
Okay.
We should have some games revisited. We had a good divide in the community
mm-hmm.
between business and games. So that's what we're going to be. We're going to be divided.
Real connoisseurs, real intellectuals, a mix of games and business in the audience.
Who would have thought? Everybody, the iPod is dead. Rest in peace to the iPod. After 20 years, Apple is officially retiring the iPod.
I was so bummed to see this. Now, you may say I thought the iPod was already gone.
Mm-hmm.
Most people would. And that's probably why it's gone. There was one iPod left. It was the iPod Touch.
Yep.
It has not been updated since 2019.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the iPod Touch. I have an iPod Touch.
I had an iPod Touch in an early edition.
Yeah,
I don't have a current one.
I got one in 2016 or something like that, 2015. I think they're great little devices, but this really shows that there is no market for a one-use device, even though the iPod wasn't a one-use device anymore.
No, the iPod Touch absolutely wasn't. It was your iPhone just without calls. And I also understand how that can be unappealing. What I would have actually liked to see, and this isn't an announcement they made that hey, the iPod's dead forever. They just said they were discontinuing the only one that they still have, which is the iPod Touch. Here's what I would love, Anthony. I would love a revival of the iPod in a non-touch form, no screen whatsoever. Because I think that the main market for the iPod is stop giving children iPhones, give them an MP3 player. Please, I'm begging you, stop giving children iPhones.
Yes.
It should be able to put Spotify on it, put Pandora on it, put apps on it that are for music and things like that.
Yeah.
But Jesus Christ, we cannot encourage people to instead buy children iPhones.
Which is clearly what Apple's doing. And that's something that I was going to bring up too, is the segment for the iPod over the last 10 years has literally been mostly a first device for kids.
Yeah.
Because if you don't want to hand your kid your iPhone, which you see a lot of parents just where kids are
on your phone?
you got any games on your phone? And it's fuck, I don't want to hand my kid my $1,000 phone.
Yeah.
Let's
give them an iPod.
My kid is covered in grease and peanut butter and Elmer's glue and whatever else kids are there's
right.
What is that, a stick? How's there a stick in your hair? We haven't been outside all day.
Right.
But so you give your kid this, and you can also, put the parental controls on it, lock it down, make sure that there's no messaging or anything on there if you need to.
Yeah, I mean, the Touch even having games on it for kids, yes, absolutely. I'm in favor of that. I do think that that's great. So the iPod Touch, I think, had value. But I will say that also has been replaced by the iPad. It is an easier, bigger thing for a kid to hold on to and see. They can put Netflix or whatever on it and let the kids watch things.
Better for games.
I understand why the iPad has taken the spot of the iPhone. It just makes me sad.
Yeah.
As like a kid who grew up in the car a lot.
Yeah.
Having like an iPod was the biggest deal, to be able to like sit in the car with headphones on and my iPod.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely, and that's good. That's also really good for parents too. Parents love it when you're in your own world on your headphones.
Anthony, what was your first iPod?
The first one.
The first iPod, the big boy.
But I'll tell you what, I bought it, the first one with the click wheel.
Mm-hmm.
I got the 10 gig one. I got the big boy. And I bought it. I had it for a week. And then I returned it because I was like, oh my God, I have a $600 music player in my pocket and I have to pay for school. Like, I was just like, oh my God, what have I done? It was the most beautiful object I ever owned. I was so in love with it. And then I was like, I can't have this. And I returned it and I got my first video camera.
Uh-huh.
A printer.
Wow.
And like a spindle of DVD-Rs and like a couple other things I needed for my computer. Like, I bought so many things
for the price of that
iPod. So that was the first one I had. And then I didn't have another one again until probably one of the video ones.
Okay. My first one was a mini.
I love the mini. I have a mini right now.
I loved my iPod mini. I had the little pink iPod mini.
Yeah. I have a little pink iPod mini right now that I've modded. It has 256 gigabytes on it. Think of all the music you can put on there.
I had a mini, I had a nano, and then eventually I had an iPod Touch.
Yeah. Somebody's saying nice adulting choice, Anthony. I'll tell you what. It was less it was a choice that I made, but it was also because I was like, oh my God, my courses require a video camera. And they start in like a couple weeks, and there's no way I'm going to be able to, oh God, what am I doing?
Didn't really have a choice.
All of my music is in my pocket. How do I give that up? All of my music in my pocket?
Aww.
But this is, I love these. The one that I have right now, the iPod Touch that I have right now, I used to use for, you know how you need your phone to hook up to a drone controller?
Yeah.
I was like, well, I don't like my phone being attached to that battery.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like you could get a text while you're flying your drone and like crash your drone and shit. So I got that in order to use it for my drone, but also like it made for a good second camera. It made for a good, like, if I wanted to go out and like get work done and not bring my phone with me because of the ad hid.
Right.
It was a great thing to bring and like have music with me and have, like, you know what I mean? And still get my messages, and like, I like it. I think it's a cool device. Apple has said that the music will live on, and the spirit of the iPod lives on in other Apple products that play music. And it's like what? The fucking HomePod? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Other Apple products, like a MacBook?
Mm-hmm.
What are you talking about? Other Apple products that play music.
Most Apple products, all Apple, your iPhone.
Anything with a anything with a processor plays music. What are you talking about? I'm gonna miss the iPod. The iPod really it was a revolutionary thing. It changed it. It's stupid to say that it changed the world, but it changed the world.
It did, absolutely.
And I'm gonna miss the iPod. And we've talked about this before. I miss really well-built single-use devices.
Yeah.
Shit that you turn on where it's just like, this does the thing it's supposed to do, and it does it so well.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't need to update 15 other things to make it work. I'm sorry, I'm old man yells at cloud right now.
Yeah, you are.
But like, how nice is a handheld gaming thing that's just a handheld gaming thing? Or a music player that's just a music player? You know,
we still got the gaming things, and they'll never take that from us. Speaking of games, I would like to take you somewhere a little different.
A dimension beyond sight and sound?
But of mind? Because we have a very special trailer to play for you today.
We're so excited about this.
We are very excited about it. We're just going to show it to you really quick, and then we will talk about it. Because Valve Virtual Athletics League was kind enough to sponsor a segment on today's show, and let us show you this little bit of
everybody. Oh, I'm so excited.
Okay.
Where are you right now? Sitting at home? Watching? On your phone? Your tablet? Computer? But what if we told you you're not really there at all? You're here with me in the Twilight Zone.
There we go, Mike's. Hello. Oh my God.
Yo, okay. The Twilight Zone is the single greatest television series that's ever been created.
Facts.
There will never be a better television series than The Twilight Zone. I'm sorry.
Absolute facts. That is not a subjective opinion. That is the truth. And I know that our community fully understands that.
I am such a huge Twilight Zone fan. I have been my entire life.
Samesies.
And of course, we are big VR people.
We are avid lovers of our quests. We've lived in our quests through a lot of quarantine. So this is coming to the Quest 2 on July 14th.
Dude, I love this. I love this Twilight Zone in VR. And this is from the people that made the Exorcist VR game, The Exorcist Legion.
Yeah.
And they also made Tarzan VR, which was very good. So I'm very excited to see what they do with this. The idea of, just in that teaser trailer, the framing device of what is reality. Is this reality real? When you put on VR, is that the virtual real? That's a very Twilight Zone question to be asking in VR.
Yeah. So when initially I got an email about a Twilight Zone video game, first I screamed. Then I went, how? How does that work? Because I didn't yet know that it was VR. I was very excited by it. And then I saw that it was VR and I was more excited. Because to me, the immersiveness of it and that like disconnect from reality, like discombobulate me.
Yeah.
Confuse me a little bit.
Yeah.
Make me a little uncomfortable like the Twilight Zone is supposed to.
Am I actually just a doll living in a donation bin? What is going on with reality? Make me think about it. Is there something on the wing? Come on.
I'm very excited, and I am excited to be reminded that people love and appreciate and want to do justice to the Twilight Zone as much as we do. Mm-hmm. This is perfect for me. Let me live in it. That is why I have a VR headset, is because sometimes I want to swing around like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want to run around at the end of the galaxy. And sometimes I want to be in a beautiful mystery.
VR horror is some of the best VR right now. And Twilight Zone is not strict horror. Twilight Zone, of course, is very genre bending. It's sci-fi, it's speculative fiction, it's fantasy, it's thriller. But vignettes like that in VR is perfect. So we wanna thank the lovely people at Fun Train for this game and for letting us show off this trailer.
Yeah. So thank you to Virtual Athletics League for sponsoring this segment. This is very, very special and so appreciated. Thank you also for supporting the show today. If you want to get more information, you go to twilightzonevr.com. You can sign up for the newsletter and get updates as they come out, because obviously this is just a tiny teaser. Mm-hmm. I'm very excited to see more of the actual game, because this is just a little bit, just you get a little piece as a treat.
Yeah. Hey, and if you enjoyed that trailer, be sure to let Fun Train and Virtual Athletics League know on social that you saw it on It's Too Early.
Yeah.
That's very helpful for us, and it also lets them know that you are an audience that's loving what they're doing. It would be a huge thing.
We love and appreciate you very much.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
EA Sports. It's in the game. That's what they say. That's the EA Sports challenge everything. EA, after threatening for a very long time this year, has ditched the FIFA license.
Bold move.
The FIFA games will officially be called EA Sports Club FC, or EA Sports FC next year. Rolls right off the tongue.
Just like FIFA.
This is pretty huge. They talked about it in October last year. Of course, the FIFA organization coming under a little bit of fire for different things, but so is EA. You know what I'm saying? So when EA says like, "Oh, we don't know if FIFA is the right fit because of recent events," what they're saying is money, and the money did not work. Here's the problem with this: when you lose when you lose a license like this, you lose a lot of things that make a soccer game a soccer game.
Yeah.
You are not going to be able to put the World Cup in your game.
Right.
The World Cup is a FIFA event.
Yeah.
This is sort of going back to the late 90s, early 2000s, where there were multiple sports games, and one of them was like, well, we have the NFL license, but none of the team licenses. And one of them was like, well, we have the players, but we can't say the names of the teams.
Yeah.
Like, this is very strange to me.
I'm going to be honest. I forget that FIFA's a real thing.
No, FIFA is a real sport based on the video game. It was a video game first. And then people were like, this is fun. They should do it in real life.
I forget that FIFA's a real thing, like as a name.
What if I could get drunk and yell at real people while this was happening?
And I exclusively think of it as a video game.
Yeah. FIFA is basically known as like the soccer organization, the football organization.
And I do know that.
No, but I mean, like, I'm saying, like, so this is a weird choice, because
Very weird choice.
Even people in the chat are like, yo, that's not gonna fly.
Yeah.
Like, hi, I'm in Europe and this is bad. Like, this is not going to do well for them. It's pretty wild. So now they can still license the teams, the leagues, and the players separately, and they will probably do that.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, it could be a slow trickle out to the point where they're trying to establish, because they think that they have such a large game, that they're like, well, what if we didn't have to pay out money to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where we didn't have to pay out money for licenses to players, to teams, to FIFA. Maybe we have a big enough game that we can build our own players and people will just like our gameplay so much.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
But you know, this article does say that there are more things that stay in this than you would think, like Champions League and Premier League, which are two terms that I know as an American, which means they must be big, mostly from Ted Lasso.
Got it. Yes. Okay.
Champions League and Premier League are still there.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they're not losing tons of stuff.
Right.
I think the real players and the real teams are important.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people will be able to overlook things like league names and tournament names, as long as, you know, if you want your team, your home team represented.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as they're represented realistically and called the right thing and the players are the right thing and the uniforms look right, you're probably okay.
Yeah.
If it's just tournament names and specific league names and things like that,
It might not be
it might
too
be
much of a
okay.
loss. We'll see what happens next. If this is the first step in moving away from all of those things, or if this is just a very tiny one that we quickly forget.
How does this affect Mario Strikers, you might be asking? The answer is it does not. Mario Strikers is still the ultimate representation of soccer in digital form. So we're good. Nothing's changed.
Anthony,
Saige,
may we be hype beasts
we may.
for a moment. Converse is doing Pokemon sneakers.
We're very picky about collabs. You know this.
And you know, we cover a lot of them and we like very few of them.
We want to like them all.
We want to like them all, but we're not hype beasts, truly. But man, am I a Pokemon fan, and do these shoes absolutely do it for me.
Converse is doing it right. They understand that the answer is simplicity.
Yes.
Simplicity without just slapping a logo on a product that already exists, right?
Right.
We don't like it when somebody just slaps some clip
We
art.
don't want to see Converse X Pokemon.
No.
No. That's so good, Lee Green Griffin, and it was right there. I hope they're calling it the Pikachu.
The Pikachu.
I hope they are. So that is the Pikachu. Very, very simple. Right there. We've got the Eevee as well. Again, it's just a more muted color with just Eevee on the tongue right there. I love the Mewtwo. Those are the ones for me.
Yeah. Now, it's got a little bit of that, like, brand, like that on style kind of like off-white branding right now, where it's like, or like that techwear or like Japanese or Southeast Asian brand where it's like, we are putting like just text. We were putting just block
Right.
text about this product onto the product.
I'm so into this one. Yes, Akotoroku got it. The Mewshu. That's good.
The Mewshu, the
Mewshu.
Pikachu and the Mewshu. And then it's cool because they have their Japanese names.
Yeah.
So
Lizardon.
it's not Charizard, it's Lizardon.
That's great. I think that's really excellent.
So each shoe has a special Pokeball hang tag, which they don't show in these pictures for some reason. That's wild to me. But the plastic hang tag, you usually see them on like Hypebeast shoes.
Mm-hmm.
But the hang tags are going to be Pokeballs. Sneaker Freaker says that Pikachu's going to get a normal one, Eevee's going to get a Great Ball, and Charizard is going to get an Ultra Ball, and then Mewtwo gets a Master Ball. Ooh.
That's great. This is an old one.
That's their old one.
They previously did a Pokemon collab that was much more like cartoony and to the point.
I think that was the only one of that collab that we liked.
Yeah.
That black one.
Yeah. Which, like, I like this, absolutely, but I like these other ones more.
Yeah.
I like these, like, really minimal ones so much.
Mm-hmm. And I do like that you just have the Pokedex thing on one side of one shoe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just enough to make it so it's not a regular Converse shoe with just a tongue design.
Right.
You know? I will say that these are not crazy expensive. They're basically around the same price as some of the more up fashion. Oh, the sole's good.
The bottom's real good.
Some of the up fashion Chucks, they're gonna be about $75. So, a little more, like $50. I think is like the standard price for just a plain Chuck Taylor.
I want to say that's even gone up now.
Yeah. I want to say, the ones I bought were low tops. The low tops I bought a couple years ago were just like 50. They may be more now, but the point being, they're not too much more expensive than a standard. So pretty good.
Yeah, it looks like I'm just seeing like a seasonal color Converse high top is $65.
Okay, so $10, a $10 premium, and it's a Mewtwo now.
That's pretty good.
Oh, my friend Carrie says it. Where's the Psychuck?
I would love a Psychuck so much. Psyduck is my favorite Pokemon personally, and I do
Same.
feel very betrayed that there isn't one. I do love the Mewshu. I love the Pikachu.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Dagger shoe.
Dagger, cover your ears. Psyduck is my favorite Pokemon.
Dagger's an Eevee.
Dagger is clearly an Eevee. Producer Dagger. Yeah, I don't often like a lot of these collabs,
but man, do I like these, and I kind of want all of them.
Yeah, they're very good.
I would never wear the yellow ones. I have a very distinct color palette that I wear. This is outside of it, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't wear tennis shoes very often.
No.
But
a high top Chuck Taylor does fit with your personal aesthetic. You could make that work with a lot of the stuff you wear.
I can make it work.
I
would like a Mewshu.
It's pretty good. In other news,
almost out of time.
Yeah, well, that's okay. We're almost out of news. This is a big one.
We have to. I think this is actually an excellent place probably to end it for today.
Yeah, this is a good one. Somebody has finally beaten Joe Rogan to be the #1 podcast on Spotify, and it's just another toxic white man.
It's Batman.
It's the Batman. The Batman of Gotham. I thought he was just an urban myth.
Batman Unburied was announced, and we covered its announcement a while back, and it has now taken the #1 spot on Spotify. And look, if I could have chosen anyone to overtake Joe Rogan on Spotify, would it have been Batman? I guess it wouldn't have come to mind.
No.
But I'm thrilled to see it.
But it also just shows that, like, the main podcast audience is still that dude.
True.
That dude.
But I'd rather
He moves from Joe Rogan to Batman. It is definitely that guy.
But I would so rather that guy be listening to Batman than vaccine misinformation.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? Like, look, if you're going to get your toxic masculinity from somewhere, I'd rather you get it from Batman.
Batman would rather that too. That's what he told all his kids. If you're going to get toxic masculinity, Dick Grayson, get it from me at home.
Exactly.
Batman Unburied is one of the latest audio fiction podcasts. It's an audio drama.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a pretty good cast.
It does.
We've got Winston Duke, is Bruce Wayne.
Mhm.
Hassan Minhaj as the Riddler. Jason Isaacs as Alfred. Gina Rodriguez as Barbara Gordon. Lance Reddick as Thomas Wayne. And then Ashley Birch as Vicky Vale.
Yeah.
And Sam Witwer is in it as well. Friend of the show, Sam Witwer. So we got Ash and Sam in this. This is very cool. The Harvester it's a serial killer in Gotham City, and this is an audio drama about Batman going after the Harvester, played by Sam Witwer, I believe. And very cool. Very cool. It's nice to
Very
see.
cool.
Nice to see Joe Rogan get knocked down.
And I hope he does not, in fact, get up again.
Yeah, there's no Michael Caine, why do we fall on this one?
No.
Michael Caine's like, why do we fall, Master Joe? So you just stay down forever. Just stay down forever. It's not really a Michael Caine as much as it's just a kindly old woman. This voice.
Yeah, a little bit of a combination of both. So that's great. Apparently now listening to the Batman podcast is kind of doing the Lord's work.
Yeah. It's great.
Keep anything above Joe Rogan, including large anvils dangling from tiny breaking ropes, like a Wile E. Coyote cartoon.
Yeah.
Anyways, we love you all so much. Thank you for joining us for the news this morning. We, of course, do this show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at exactly 8 a.m. Pacific. If it is not 8 a.m. Pacific where you are when we start, that is not on us, and you should get your clocks checked out.
We want to go through and thank everybody who supported us through the show today. All of your generosity, of course, keeps us going because we are two people in a shed.
Similar to two kids in a trench coat.
It shakes. The whole shed shakes if we do this. There it goes.
Bouncing.
It is not cool, but we're doing it.
I
we
think
make
it's
it work.
very cool.
I mean, it's cool, but the fact that the shed shakes isn't cool.
Sure. We don't love that the shed shakes. Maybe one day we'll fix that.
So thank you all for your support. As you know, as I said earlier, all of your donations, any monetary donations, go directly to your hosts. That's me and Saige for this show. And then your subscriptions and your Patreon memberships and all of that stuff goes to support Pixel Circus as a whole. Equipment for the network, stabilizers for the shed, whatever we may need. So thank you all for that support. Before we go through the roll call, Saige, what's going on with you and where can people find you?
Excellent question. You can find me everywhere on the internet at Not Saige. I will be live on my channel later today. And tonight I will be playing for Jasper's Game Day on the D&D Beyond channel in a charity game, raising money for the prevention of teen suicide.
Hey, we love that.
That'll be live at 7-ish, 7:30 or something. I'll post about it on Twitter.
That'll be live at Shmurmurmur.
And you can find me on this channel for all of the things all the time. How about you, Anthony?
Well, Saige, thank you so much for asking. You can find me everywhere on the internet at Carboni, except for here on Twitch, where I am at Anthony Carboni. Twitch, you cowards, is mine. Give it back to me. Also on Fridays for my science comedy podcast with Jeff Kanata called We Have Concerns. And God, I'm 2.5 hours away from being able to say something. But what I will say is, why don't you watch This Week in Star Wars today on the Star Wars YouTube channel?
Check it out. Do it. And hey, thank you to everybody who supported us. There's a bunch of different ways to support this show. We're an independent network. Everything that you do counts. Showing up and just watching the show, number one, best thing you can do. You can't catch it live. You can always catch it on YouTube. You can catch the VODs. We make them available to everybody. And you can join the Discord for free. Telling a friend is also free. But you know what's not free? The 100 bits that Darwin 50 gave us. Very kind of you. Crafty Kaz with a 3-month resub. Thank you so very much. Flatlander resubscribing for 9 months and 9 months, 9 whole months, and more to come. A most delightful prospect. Flatlander also giving a very kind $15 donation set to provide sugar breakfast for beloved hosts, ensuring no malnutrition, and also with you.
Joke's on you. Sugar breakfast contains no nutrition.
Woo! Lanky Dragoon for 5 months. King Sassafras with the 690 bit, 690 tip. Thank you very much. I got my sugary breakfast now, and I hope y'all get yours too, and also with you. Cheyenne is trying with the 420 tip. Look at the numbers.
Yeah, they're
first,
so nice.
It's too early stream and first Pixel Circus stream in general. Cheers, y'all. Dragging my butt out of bed. Well, hey, Cheyenne, thank you very much for showing up. I recognize you from my chat and community, so I'm very glad that you're here this morning. Not the real Dan Lynch with another 420. nice. And the funny number to distract from the haunting ocean vibes.
Nothing can distract from the haunting ocean. It surrounds us.
Cheyenne also gifted that sub to Casey. So appreciated. Cheyenne is trying, also gifting 5 other subs. Oh my God. Cheyenne really showed up this morning.
Cheyenne, I think you might like us.
Oh my goodness. That was very kind of you. Tom Biden with 99 bits. Anthony, somebody impersonating Anthony Carboni. Came in with a $50 donation, said, "It's too early is my staple to my week. Thank you both for bringing such joy to my life." Hey, that's very nice of you. I didn't read that emotionally prepared for how sweet that was going to be. Thank you very much. Tom Biden with the bits, getting Mo done with the bits. GM for life, resubscribing for 13 months. That's a Pixel Circus year.
Woo!
A hot beverage with the bits and the 4-month resub. Thank you all so much for supporting the show today.
Oh, we do want to say,
oh my God, I thought we were caught up. There's so much more.
No, there's so much more. Hardliner with the 10 gift subs. 10 gift subs. Thank you, Hardliner. AV Martin with the resub for 6 months. Skywalker9982 with the gift sub. Samantha42 with the resub for 3 months, using that Prime sub, taking that Beezy money. Be Right UK with the resub for 5 months. That's a good chunk of time. Havoc Girl with the resub for 11 months. Havoc Girl, you might like us. Rydian M with the resub for 17 months. That is a large chunk of time. That is huge. Thank you all
Y'all are so wonderful.
for your generosity. We really, really appreciate it. And of course, we will see you on Friday.
Bye, baby.
Bye.